You chose this video for a reason, and I am so grateful that you did. So let's get into it. This is my first video by myself. It has taken me a while to do this. I'm not even gonna front. My first video I put out was with my spiritual teacher, Susan. That was in August. We've made about 9, I think, of those videos. They're about 1 hour to 2 hours long. If you want to watch those, you can head over to my channel and check those out. But I'm not even gonna lie, this is hard for me. This is why I've taken so long to post a video by myself. And I am going to be upfront, honest. I'm not even gonna try to be something that I'm not. I am very shy. I am very introverted. And it is hard for me to talk in front of a camera. But if you watched my video, my middle name means to be heard. And I really do feel like that is part of my life path. So this is my attempt to be heard, and I hope that you will listen and enjoy. I want to talk about healing. Now, healing is not a linear concept. You can be good one day, think that you have it all figured out, and then the next day you fall apart and you're mad at yourself because you thought that you were healed. It is not linear, and it is hard. If it was easy, more people would do it. A big thing for me, I was really hard on myself with that. I think that I expected myself to have it more figured out than I did. And when I thought I had it figured out, I realized I didn't. So my advice is to be easy on yourself. Be easy on yourself because life is such a difficult journey. It's not easy at all. It's hard healing rather than to just ignore it and go about your day and to pretend like you're not traumatized, because everyone has trauma. Some are just affected differently than others, but I don't think that's a reason to excuse it. Healing is also never finished. You are never done healing. You'll be healing up until you die. It is something that you can never finish because we are only human and things will always get to us at some point. We essentially are addicted to reacting a certain way. We are always triggered because we are living in our past. We are focused on things that reaffirm our beliefs of doubt and shame and those feelings because they are known to us, they're familiar. And being in the unknown, which is joy for a lot of people, it can be a very foreign feeling. And some things that have helped me is to really just embody love and forgiveness. It sounds very hard. It was for me, and I'm still getting this down, so you're not alone. But we have to get to a point where instead of choosing to attack and to react how we've always reacted, whether it be hateful or aggressive or yelling or blaming, even if we don't know we're doing that, that's our defense mechanism. And that is so deeply rooted in generational trauma, which I've talked about with Susan, and personal trauma, childhood trauma. When you're so used to reacting a certain way, it becomes a habit and it becomes something that you strive for because you're like, oh, if I react this way, I'm going to either get attention or I'm going to get validation. Deep down, maybe you've grown out of that, but you physically and mentally and spiritually cannot move past that point because you're so rooted in reacting that way that it's going to push you back into that state that you're trying so hard to get out of. Another thing I want to talk about is what has helped me. Like I said, it's love and forgiveness and all that. Some affirmations that I've been saying recently is forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. That has helped me a lot because for one, I embody Jesus or a spiritual prophet, but to me, Jesus is somebody that was a perfectly aligned spiritual being that brought guidance to those who needed it at that time. I also believe that Jesus, the idea of Jesus and the concept of Jesus, was a person that existed in multiple lifetimes. It could have been multiple people. I think multiple people have embodied the concept of Jesus. But when you really live like him and strive to be this Christ-like being, that's really what pushes you into this state of, I'm good enough, I'm worthy, I'm doing the best I can with the consciousness I have. If I could do better, I would, and so would they. You know, a big part of me for a long time, I was stuck in judgment. I would be judging others, judging myself. And when you're constantly judging others, and or vice versa, if you're constantly judging yourself, you're judging others, you're judging yourself, and that does nothing for you. That will do nothing for you in the long run, because you put these limiting beliefs on other people. For one, that's not going to do anything. Your idea of somebody does not change who they are, but your idea of yourself impacts who you are. Now let's talk about insecurities. Insecurities is when you feel like you are lacking in a aspect. When you feel insecure, you are constantly attacking others and attacking yourself because you are looking for a piece of yourself that is there, but because you reject the idea that it's there, it's not. It's not brought into awareness. When you put these limiting beliefs on yourself and others, you start to become those limitations. If you tell yourself, I'm not good enough, I will never be good enough, she's prettier than me, he's smarter than me, you are not allowing yourself to reach your full potential, because you have this idea in your mind that I am not good enough, therefore you won't be. You're a victim. You're victimizing yourself when you weren't one to begin with. Same thing like I talked about, I believe, in my last video with Susan. You are not your trauma. A lot of people identify with that because, of course, it impacts your personality greatly. It impacts the way that you perceive the world. It impacts your behavior. But when you start to identify with that trauma, you won't grow past it. So I think that it's only appropriate to talk to you about comfort zones. My comfort zone is very small. I am not comfortable doing a lot of things, and I do have anxiety experiencing a lot of things. But at the end of the day, I know that those experiences that give me anxiety and make me nervous and freak me the hell out are good for me. My affirmation that I've been using lately is, anxiety is just confused excitement. And that has helped me so much, because oftentimes when we put ourselves outside of our comfort zones, that's where you learn, that's where you grow, that's how you become a knowledgeable human being, an experienced human being. And that's how you know what you like, what you don't like, what to stay away from, what to bring forth in your life. Especially like in this age, I'm in my 20s, it is so important to start figuring out what you like and what you don't like. If you stay in your comfort zone, you will never know, and you can miss out on a lot. And you can also stay in a situation that is not good for you because you don't know that there's something better out there. For me, comfort zones, they have kept me from a lot, and they've also put me through a lot. I also was one of those people where I stayed in a situation because you're comfortable. Like, you can be and I've seen a lot of people too, like, they're comfortable. They don't want to step out of their comfort zone and meet new people or leave their toxic partner or pursue their dreams or go into school. Or there's so many things. People don't want to do that because it's scary. It is terrifying stepping out of your comfort zone. Lately, I have been stepping out of my comfort zone. For example, making this video right now. This is my first video, and I know there probably are a lot of you out there that may have thought about starting a YouTube channel but never have because you're scared of making that first video. You know, a lot of limiting things that I tell myself is, what if nobody watches my videos? Am I gonna look stupid? Like, what if I embarrass myself? Or what if people watch my videos and they make fun of me for them? And it's like, You telling yourself that I am never going to grow as a person if I stay in my comfort zone. I'm never going to grow as a YouTuber if I do not make videos. I have to start somewhere, and everyone has to start somewhere. It doesn't matter if you look stupid. You cannot look stupid. You are your own creator of your own reality, and anything you say goes. You are your main character. And if you think that you're not, you have a problem manifesting your desires in your life. I struggle with anxiety, and that has made me into a person who steps out of my comfort zone to fight that anxiety. If I listened to my anxiety every time my brain told me that that's a dangerous situation, that is dangerous, don't do it, don't go, I would be stuck in my room all day and I would not grow or learn as a person. It is so important not to listen to those thoughts, because when you do, it's harder to go out of them, to go out of your comfort zone. Now, let me talk about those limiting beliefs for a second. I'll use me as an example. Me telling myself I'm going to look stupid, or nobody's going to watch my videos, or that stems from a past experience. When you tell yourself those limiting beliefs, you really have to identify where that is coming from. Has someone told you that before? Have you been made fun of for something that you've enjoyed before? Have your dreams been shut down before? Because then you can start identifying where else in life do you tell yourself those limiting beliefs. Not just with stepping out of your comfort zone, but leaving an uncomfortable situation, or telling yourself that I'm not good enough, no one's gonna like me, because then you're not gonna go anywhere. Another big thing that I want to talk about is, why do you care? Why do you care what somebody's opinion of you is? They have no power over you, so why are you giving them the power to dictate what you do with your life? When people place others in a form of power by needing their validation, that is a limitation. You are not going to go anywhere if you are constantly looking for people to tell you that you're doing a good job. You can't sit and wait for something external to make you take that first step. Nothing external can affect you if you don't let it. Your mind has more power than any external factor in your life. If you see yourself with people who reaffirm your addictions or your bad habits or your limiting beliefs or your suffering, misery loves company. Let me talk about that. Misery loves company. If your friends are only coming to you to complain about something or when they need something, those are not the type of people you should be around. It is especially so hard when those are the only people that you attracted, and you start entering this spiritual journey and you start losing them. And they could be like the only people that you have in your life, and you just feel so disconnected from them, because when you start healing yourself and you're around people who are not healed and don't want to heal, the interests don't align anymore, and there's nothing else to talk about. If you ever feel lost on your spiritual journey, you are not alone, because you are changing. You are changing rapidly when you're on a spiritual journey. And when you change that fast and the other people around you aren't, you grow out of your friends. It could be a very isolating feeling, but you can't go back to them because you need validation. But you have to keep moving forward. You can't let loneliness stop you from healing. And I think a lot of people get stuck on that. When I was alone, when I had really nobody to talk to, that's when I got my therapist. That's when I reached out for help, because you're desperate. You don't have anything, you don't have drugs to go to or your friends to go to or anyone that you could talk to about the literal chaos in your mind. And when you don't, you get so desperate that you'll do anything. I was so against therapy. I wasn't against therapy, but I have heard so many bad stories about it in my family and how it's hurt people, especially my own family members, and it's just not been any good. And I was one of those people where I was like, you know what, I can talk to myself. Like, I don't need anybody. I'm my own therapist. But in January, I met my therapist because I was just desperate. I quit my job in September of 2020 and I hadn't been working. I was just mentally drained. I was burnt out. I was just sitting at home and I really didn't have anything. So I was like, you know what? What is the harm? I'm going to look for a therapist. And it was probably the best decision I ever made. I have grown so much in the past year. Part of that is due to therapy. Part of that, of course, is me and the experience I go through and the, internal stuff I do in my head. But therapy has helped me sort out my thoughts as well as get a second opinion on things and to hear a different perspective, especially because me and my therapist are from completely different generations, but we have very similar views on life. That I think is important in looking for a therapist, is finding someone with the same views on life as you. Not exactly the same, because it is refreshing to hear a different point of view, but someone who you can relate to and you have similar interests to, or else it's not going to click and the respect isn't going to be there. But yeah, I enjoy it and I'm so glad I did it. Like I said before, I keep talking about it, but I have a bunch of videos with my therapist out and we talk about all different sorts of healing topics and spirituality topics that she has taught in her living room for years, collecting information from a channeled being named Lazarus and A Course in Miracles, and from multiple workshops, and they have taught me a lot. And my goal is to teach all of you. That's both of our goal. We want to share this information with the world at no cost, so it's very accessible, so everyone can heal. We all healing. There's no excuse anymore. We are all healing. This generation, we are waking up. I believe that this generation and the generations to come, hopefully, will keep getting more and more aware, self-aware, awaken, heal from generational trauma, and to stop those toxic cycles that our parents and their grandparents placed. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed my first video. If you did, let me know in the comments. Any suggestions, I am open to anything. Me and Susan, we should be resuming our classes, I believe on the 15th will be our next release date. Anyways, I hope you got something out of this video and I hope you enjoyed, and as always, I will see you in the next one.